Good morning, everyone, and welcome back to Coffee and Headlines, our morning get-together live here on Facebook, where we take a look at news and headlines from our city, our state, and our country. We take a look at your comments, your questions, your ideas, and your suggestions, and we try to combine all this information, hoping to have a more connected life here in Puerto Vallarta as a community of English-speaking locals. Today is Tuesday, April 12th, and as always, it's a pleasure to get together with you and pick my nose and scratch my beard and say hello to Luna, who is sitting right next to me. It is great to see you all. And as always, we welcome friends that are watching live for the first time. If this applies to you, please give us the opportunity to give you a nice welcome by writing the word new in your comment, and we'll be so very happy to do so. If there's something truly important that you want to bring up during the broadcast, it helps a great deal if you if you add a letter Q to your comment. That way we can bring it up at the end of the broadcast when we get into chit-chat mode. Today, as always, we have all kinds of news. We have some follow-up stories on both red tide and also on all the sirens that went on Saturday. I had been waiting to find out exactly if something horrible happened or what. And now I think we have a good explanation of why there were so many sirens going on over the weekend. And of course, some feathers were ruffled yesterday and some apologies have been issued thanks to a comment that came up on screen yesterday during the broadcast. So if you stick till the end, you can find out why saying to someone, green shirt, you must work at La Comer in Mexico, can get you in trouble. But first, let us take a quick look at the news and we'll take it from there. So for starters, this is important news. Last week, we announced that the massive COVID-19 vaccination campaigns are over. That is, we are no longer having these exercises of all, pilgrimaging to La Lija and all these places where we're getting our vaccines. Moving forward, it is at health centers that vaccines are going to be applied. And we can confirm this as we learn that the IMSS, or the Social Security Institute of Mexico, will be administering COVID-19 vaccines at two local clinics, clinics number 170 and 179, without appointment, starting today and even through the vacation period. Upon learning this, I quickly added the two clinics to our general reference map so that you know where they are located. One of them is at Océano Pacífico Poniente in Aramara, and the other one is located in El Palmar del Progreso, also here in Puerto Vallarta. And of course, the way for you to access these maps is by going to our website, pacoojeda.com, and at the very top on the upper left-hand corner, you will find that we have a link here that points to all the maps that we produced: Versalles for Foodies, the General Reference Map, which I just mentioned, and the Taco Tuesday map, and the walking tour maps, which we're also creating for you to better connect. Moving right along, you may remember that on Saturday we were wrapping our broadcast, and some of you commented about sirens and possibly helicopters and a lot of noise that was coming probably from Marina Vallarta. Now we can confirm that all this hullabaloo was due to a rescue and demonstration exercise performed by members of the Mexican Marines, as there were also some land demonstrations that took place at the Malecon Arches. This was happening Saturday. I remember reading somewhere through the weekend that Mayor Michel was there to oversee these exercises. Maybe this was a way for the local government to show how prepared we are to take care of tourists and the local population during the vacation period. But I can also appreciate how this would have startled some people throughout the city. Let's see, what else do we have? Yes. A couple of questions have been posed about red tide. People want to know what's going on. And I noticed this headline, and I don't know that this is directly related or not. Then again, the researchers are not entirely sure, but over 500 dead fish have appeared on Nuevo Vallarta beaches, and this has been attributed to both the red tide and sudden changes in water temperature. Again, I wish I had a clear understanding or explanation of why this is happening. I don't. The water seems to be fit for swimming. So, and the only specific recommendation that I've seen to that effect has to do with if you see big patches of red in the ocean, it's best to stay away from them. How popular is our mayor? That's a good question. It's interesting to see that in the 6 months he's been in office, results from surveys about mayor popularity in Mexico, as conducted by Mitofsky, a well-known marketing and analysis firm, have been published several times, because at the beginning, Mayor Michel seemed to have a permanent spot in the top 10 most popular mayors in the country when it comes to approval, of course. And in the latest poll, however, he has taken a nosedive to position number 23, with an approval rate of only 53%. Oh well, what can I tell you about that other than the fact that we hope our mayor and his team continue to working on projects that, well, that can help bring him back when it comes to popularity and approval, because it's the only way that is going to happen. Moving right along, 3 years ago, as I understand it through this article, the federal government announced the suspension of support for the so-called pueblos mágicos, or magical towns in the country. We remember that pueblos mágicos are specific towns that stand out because they are quintessentially traditional or Mexican, or maybe they are in a specific location that makes them special, and so forth. Now, the fact that the federal government has suspended support has not stopped the state of Jalisco from developing new promotional and financial aid packages for the 9 municipalities in the state, or the 9 pueblos or towns in the state that qualify for this category. Governor Alfaro has presented a new support model for the pueblos mágicos in the state of Jalisco that includes a whopping investment of 359.7 million pesos in their infrastructure, along with systematic solutions to the development problems within them through 4 strategies. Number 1, diagnosis and ordering of mobility issues, which I imagine has to do with how to get there and how to move through the towns. Number two, the creation and implementation of the tourism agent, which I imagine has to do with having well supported, well trained tourism ambassadors in each location and possibly also throughout the state. Number three, diagnosis and improvement of the urban image, which has to do with the types of buildings and projects that can be designed and constructed and authorized in these towns and those that cannot. And the last point, very important, waste management, because there is trash and caca water wherever you go. Now, how important is all of this? Well, first of all, it is very important because it gives us places to go. And we know that there are three amazing pueblos mágicos within close proximity of Puerto Vallarta. The first one, of course, being San Sebastián del Oeste, the second one being Mascota, and the third is Talpa de Allende. They are all truly worth visiting, and they're all in the same direction. So you could actually, if you're ambitious, do a day trip and do quick stops at all three of those pueblos mágicos on a single day and come back to Puerto Vallarta in time for dinner. But more importantly, it is interesting to consider the fact that Jalisco's pueblos mágicos constitute 11.2 of the state's tourism-related income. They generate 7,751 jobs in the tourism sector and constitute 4% of all hotel rooms in the state. But statistics aside and numbers aside, they are just freaking gorgeous places to go visit. And again, if you live here in Puerto Vallarta and you haven't made it to the three closest pueblos mágicos that I mentioned before, San Sebastián del Oeste, Mascota, and Talpa, I would strongly recommend that you add these to your bucket list. There are better and worse times to visit them, and your questions about these towns are more than welcome here at Coffee and Headlines. Now, let's dive into the weather just to see what's going on out there and what we can do about this increasing humidity that is clearly back in the city. What can we do about it? Nothing. It's here to stay for the next few months. Oh, I also failed the required background check to join Twitter's board, says our snarky weatherman today. We don't know exactly what that is about, but we don't really care much. Let's see, it is 25. Oh my God, that is a great comment, Harold. We'll get back to that in a second. See, I'm so easily distracted. My bad. It's 25 degrees, feels like 27. Humidity is high at 63%. We're back to those high numbers, and our temperature in Fahrenheit degrees is 77 at present time. Our weather forecast for today says clear throughout the day with a high temperature of 30, low temperature of 19. Tomorrow, Wednesday, partly cloudy throughout the day with a high temperature of 31, low temperature of 18. And then on Thursday, it's going to be a partly cloudy day with a high temperature of 32 and low temperature of 18. All I can say is we have two fans blowing at yours truly at this moment. And it is that time of year which we're taking multiple showers again. And it's a matter of days in which I will start doing cold brewed coffee instead of warm, hot coffee in the mornings. Boom, bam, boom. Moving right along, I was so tickled by this workshop, and I noticed that so many people asked about it. Will it be repeated again, and so forth and so on? And I'm happy to report that the Dot Mandala bottle painting workshop at the Annex Studio and Gallery seems to be happening on an ongoing basis. I actually went out and reached out to the woman that is teaching the workshop, saying, hey, maybe our Coffee and Headlines viewers would like to do or would enjoy a walk around of this particular studio and gallery. And she said, that's really wonderful. Let me check with my co-partner. And I think that's awesome. So do let me know, write the word mandala in your comment if you think you would be interested in getting to know more about this particular place where all these wonderful workshops are taking place for us to enjoy. The word is mandala. I would appreciate that because your feedback is, of course, very important. Late last week, I was asked to give a shout out for this event, Girls Night Out at Encanto Vallarta, and I'm doing precisely that. I understand that this is an event that brings together Stoli, Cami Desolates, and Hannah Brady, who used to sing together as a girl group, and now they are doing it again. So I have fulfilled the request. Of course, being nosy and curious and this, that, and the other, I regret the fact that there's no more information on the description. We don't know what kind of music they're going to sing. They're just going to sing harmonious music. We also don't know what kind of musicians are going to accompany them, or if this is going to be a tracks only show, which is particularly important to yours truly. Although we do know that Stoli, the guitarist and singer, she has this amazing ability to create accompanying tracks on the fly by recording herself playing guitar. So I've asked for more information. Hopefully, the information will be forthcoming. And now I see that you've written a bunch of mandalas, which means that, yes, I'm going to wait to hear from the organizers of these workshops to see if we can walk and check out this particular learning center, which I think it's awesome. Let's see. I am going to go into your comments first and go into the cultural awareness second, just because I don't want to impose the meltdown and the aftermath on any of you, unless you are interested in knowing how such a phrase could get you into trouble in Mexico. I see a lot of good mornings, and I always get happy when I read your good mornings. Thank you so very much for saying good morning. Thank you so very much for saying welcome when we have new friends joining us. This is what our community is all about. Gary snuck in over the weekend, secured 3 more years of temporary residency yesterday, and spending the next 3 weeks in town. Good for you. I actually don't understand how these extensions work because I'm a Mexican national, but I'm glad that you were able to extend your paperwork. Let's see. That is so, I appreciate this remark from Liz. Ice breaking up on the lake because it is getting so warm and humid here in Puerto Vallarta. I just can't even begin to picture ice breaking or melting anywhere. It's warm out there. Let's see what else. 9 more days till I reach paradise, says Ramon Poblano. Good for you. Let's see. Comments about heat and humidity. I love it. Oh, we have a special marina art market on both Tuesday and Saturday. And I'm sorry, Tuesday and Thursday this week and next, starting at 6 p.m. That's so smart of the folks at the Marina Art Market to increase their their presence during Semana Santa and Semana de Pascua. I think that's awesome. So if you find yourselves in Marina Vallarta this week or next, please know that you can enjoy the afternoon market on Tuesday and Thursday. Also, a big shout out to my friend Kelly Casey of the Living Room Bookstore, because I don't know if you follow her on Facebook. I love following her on Facebook because she always posts really funny things early in the morning, almost every day, or maybe every day. I seem to find them just about every day. Really wise and funny posts about reading or food or chocolate. So I think that is a great way, Kelly, to remind people of the fact that you're there. And I know that Kelly reached out to me. Well, I know that because she did. Duh. Kelly reached out to me to announce some special events that are coming to her bookstore, but she's ironing out some details, so I will be sharing these sometime in the near future. Let's see. Thank you for that, Harold. Swimming in red tide, not recommended for everybody. Read Google swimming in red tide. That is a great idea. I am pretty much not doing much ocean swimming these days, Harold, but I think your recommendation is very smart Thank you very much for that. Um, and then you commented later on. This is the one that caught my attention. Sayulita was designated a pueblo mágico, and that brought some head scratching how that could be. This is true. And I personally don't understand why Sayulita is a pueblo mágico. I understand that there's some magic going on there because of the surfing and this, that, and the other. Unfortunately, Sayulita, to the best of my understanding, has been gentrified in such a way that one has to wonder why it is still considered a pueblo mágico. And Sayulita, unfortunately, has now some major infrastructure challenges related to waste disposal and sewage to deal with. So you're right. Head scratching on how that could have happened is definitely due. We are fortunate that the Pueblo Mágico towns in Jalisco don't have such pronounced problems because, for the most part, they have been a lot more responsible in their development. Dave volunteers. The time to visit San Sebastián del Oeste is the summer when it is horribly hot and humid in Vallarta. I couldn't agree with you more, but I will also add that going to San Sebastián del Oeste in the winter months is also charming and wonderful because you get to sit in front of a fireplace and you get to bundle up. And to me, that is just as wonderful. But definitely San Sebastián del Oeste in the summer months is absolutely delightful. Thank you for your comment, Javier. Elon Musk was denied a spot of the on the Twitter board. I knew that he had purchased a considerable amount of stock, but I didn't know about the denial. Thank you very much for that. Do 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 do. The annex is so awesome, and then I get to all these mandala notes. Comments, sorry, and again, I will be more than happy to go and check that out. Mark, thank you for yesterday, Paco. I had a great time. I think Girls' Night Out will be a reprise of much of the material from the last shows from early 2020 prior to the theater's closing. Thank you for the clarification. My big question, or the thing that is important to me, maybe not to many other people, is, are the girls performing with live musicians or are they performing with tracks? For me, it makes a difference. Again, for others, it may not. I did reach out to Stoli and she hasn't reached back to me. But I think the simple fact that we get to enjoy three women singing in harmony is a good reason to go. And another great reason to go is I looked at the poster many times and there's not a single instance of the word tribute in the poster. Sorry, I had to put that out there. Let's see what else we have. David says, good morning, everyone. Sorry I haven't been around lately. New management at work that likes to have conference calls at the same time as coffee and headlines. David, I am eternally grateful that you watch us almost every day, all the way up from Boston, Massachusetts, and it is a pleasure to have you be part of our community whenever you can join us. So I'm sorry to hear about the management, but you always have a special place here among us. Mascota Talpa and San Sebastián have been working on a joint Pueblo Mágico experience. Thank you very much for that comment, Harold. I did read somewhere not too long ago. Oh, it was in the context of the Puerto Vallarta Riviera Nayarit summit that took place here in town. I think they have developed a bus, a scenic bus that can get you through all the towns, and it's a tourism experience, but I don't know exactly how it's going to work just yet. Oh my goodness, who are we calling assholes? I must have missed that. But I see this. And I see that. My goodness, sometimes I miss a lot of the background conversations. Let's see what else we have. Fluffy's on Calle Niza is just terrific. The place will put a smile on your face, and the delicious pancakes are just that, fluffy. I understand that Fluffy is where the Pozolitlan place used to be. We recall that Pozolitlan was really an amazing restaurant, but unfortunately, they did not survive the process of the remodeling of the street. And there was a lot of caca water, and I believe there was summer also to deal with, and they folded, unfortunately. But we are definitely going to, uh, or have added Fluffy to our list of restaurants to explore, and we will get there at some point. In the meantime, I strongly recommend, and I'm strongly grateful, is that a phrase? That you share your restaurant reports here at Coffee and Headlines, because everybody's hungry and we love to go out and check out new places. Um, this is snarky in a most beautiful way. Sayulita should be designated as a magic tourist trap. Well, maybe, maybe not, Javier. I mean, there's something for everyone. And Sayulita has a strong appeal, without a doubt. I mean, if I want to get nice surfer eye candy, there's no better place than Sayulita. But then there are also reasons why to appreciate other places. And that's all we're saying. Let's see. Oh, I understand. They're calling your new management assholes, and they aren't wrong. Oh, I'm sorry to hear that, David. But again, just know that your place at the table here at Coffee and Headlines is always there. And that brings us to the end of our broadcast. And if you're still here, then you're probably wondering what kind of lesson we can learn from this. And I think there is an interesting lesson for those of you who wish to consider it, and knowledge for those of you who wish to consider it. Um, this comment appeared yesterday, and I said that the comment was snarky and bitchy. And of course, the person that wrote the comment reached out to me and said, well, I've never been called either one of those things. And I was just trying to get a chuckle. And that's legit. It's okay. And I apologize to Bill. I apologize because, I don't necessarily, I should not take for granted that Bill understands why his comment was offensive. It's a cultural thing. It's a Mexican cultural thing. I don't know about other countries, but in Mexico, if you walk up to a complete stranger and you say, oh, you're wearing a green shirt, you must work at the supermarket, that is offensive. Why is it offensive? Well, before I answer that, let me tell you what happened when I reached out to Bill. And I said to him, because Bill said to me, I didn't mean to offend. And I said to him, I didn't mean to offend you, but here at Coffee and Headlines, we try to keep things harmonious by being funny and making jokes at everything we can, but never at specific people. But again, my reaction was unfounded simply because Bill maybe does not know this aspect about Mexican culture. What is offensive about it? Well, it has to do with class distinction. In other countries, I really don't know if it's okay to just walk to a perfect stranger and say something like, green shirt, you must work at a supermarket. In Mexico, we avoid class-related jokes, regardless of what class level you are a part of. Now, what has this got to do with class? Well, looking at this comment from a Mexican point of view, anyone that is working at a supermarket is working at a supermarket because they don't have enough knowledge or expertise or education to get a better job. So in many instances, not all of them, to say to someone, you must work at a supermarket, it's probably not the nicest thing to say. So I checked that with a couple of Mexican friends of mine because I wanted to make sure that I was not being overly sensitive. And one of those friends, an upper class lady friend of mine from Mexico City, said, when I asked her, if a perfect stranger walks to you and says this, how would you feel? Would you feel amused or offended? She said, I would feel offended. Then I asked another friend of mine who comes from a very low income family, who was born in a small town. And I asked him, how would you feel about this? And he said, well, I would turn around to the stranger and say, who the fuck are you? So again, I am not sharing this information to add to Bill's burden. in any way. Bill, I have apologized. I believe I've apologized twice. But I'm sharing this information just as I share all the things that we share here for you to better connect with the way we are, the way we think, the way we feel, and the way we can sometimes react to your comments when they come from another place. So that's all I have to share with you today. And if that was helpful or useful or constructive, that's wonderful. If it wasn't, that's okay too. Have a great day.